Hey, what up, though? It's your boy, T-Way Sports and Culture, back to put a little game in your brain and showing love to those doing the same. Go ahead and like, share, comment, and subscribe if you're feeling the content. You feel me? Alright, man, so I just came across the story, and in my personal opinion, this story is not getting the coverage that it needs in mainstream media. But when you're dealing with the elite, what do you expect? Anyway, so there's a story out of Brooklyn, New York, where a world-famous synagogue was found to have a tunnel under the place of worship, the synagogue, that connected 4 buildings. Once this was found, I guess there were individuals found in the synagogue after hours. Police were called. Once the police were called, they found a hole in the wall in the synagogue and essentially found this tunnel connecting the 4 buildings. Once the police were called, there were plans to basically just fill in this tunnel. No investigation, no plan of what this was being used for, nothing. They were essentially just going to fill this with concrete. However, there were practitioners from the synagogue that were refusing police access. There was a standoff between police and practitioners where 9 practitioners were arrested. But man, y'all know what this is, man. You know, how much more the elite got to be exposed, how much more information got to be exposed, how much more got to be hidden in plain sight. It's crazy. Y'all take a look at the video. I'm going to give my thoughts.
And New York City's Department of Buildings is now issuing vacate orders to a synagogue over an illegal underground tunnel in the building. Police say 9 men were arrested on criminal mischief and reckless endangerment charges for using a hole they dug in the wall to access the Brooklyn synagogue during off hours. Brad Milkey, host of the Start Here podcast, is here with more on this. Brad, this all came about because police were responding to reports of a damaged wall and a disorderly group outside. So how did that turn into a secret passageway? And what else do you know about what this was being used for?
Yeah, this is a really wild story, Diane. And I think a lot of New Yorkers don't even know when they pass this brick synagogue in Crown Heights in Brooklyn that they're passing one of the most significant religious sites in the city. So this has stood for decades as the center of the Chabad Lubavitcher movement, which is known worldwide. In fact, attracts worshipers from all over the world who come and pray at this synagogue and come and worship. Some people get visas to study at the yeshiva here. And so what leaders of the synagogue found out recently, apparently, was that some followers, some members had built a secret tunnel going from other buildings into this space, which was shocking to them. They decided this wasn't okay with the leaders of the synagogue. They bring in a cement mixer to fill it all in. And that's when there's this huge confrontation. Men, as if they were protecting sort of a tree in the forest from being torn down, they actually sit in the tunnel itself to keep it from being filled in. Police are called. There's actually a huge brawl at the site. At one point, people were tearing off pieces of wood to kind of create a barricade. And eventually that results in actually a scuffle with police. Irritant gas is used, and then arrests are made. So really an unbelievable situation that actually exposed some pretty deep fissures in this pretty insular community.
So how are officials from this synagogue responding now? Well,
this actually created a pretty deep divide, or exposed a divide that's been there for years, because you have to sort of understand about this religious sect to understand why this tunnel was even being perhaps made, is that for years, this site at 770 Eastern Parkway was led by this world-famous rabbi known simply as the Rebbe, who created all this. He died in 1994, but until then he had been arguing for this site to be expanded, saying we need more space. It's actually a pretty cramped space for the number of followers who are there. Well, there are some members of this sect who believe that the Rebbe's not dead. In fact, they see him as a living Messiah, and so in honor of him, there are even disputes over whether they should put a plaque up at the synagogue saying he was dead, because some people said no, he's not. And so there were arguments over whether, we should expand this site. Some people thought it was moving too slowly, and so some have speculated that some of these sort of young, more extremist men, younger guys, some of them perhaps even from Israel, decided in his honor to build this tunnel. The synagogue says it's a terrible look for the entire religion, for the entire site, and that's why they're so worried, especially considering these guys might have done more harm than good. Like you said, they're issuing that vacate order.
Now, Brad, this tunnel connects 4 neighboring buildings. So have any other buildings been impacted here? And what happens next?
Well, that's what they're trying to figure out right now. In fact, that's why the other day, the Department of Buildings did say that the structural integrity of this synagogue has been affected. And so they're warning people to stay away from this site. And so that's why, again, there's such a deep divide in this community, because if people thought they were trying to help the late Rebbe's vision, it certainly hasn't helped, the reputation or the physical stability of the site.
All right, so y'all got a chance to see the video. But it's crazy, man. They really want us to believe that a tunnel that connected under 4 buildings was created by youth extremists in the practice. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. I once heard a quote saying that if you're going to tell a lie, tell it big, tell it bold. They'll believe it. I mean, they just doing this stuff in plain sight now. Ever since this story broke, it's been all over Twitter. Like I said, obviously not in mainstream media on a large scale for a couple obvious reasons. But, this place has been alleged to be involved in sex trafficking activities. And, with a lot of these elite being exposed here recently, they really want us to believe that this is just a one-off situation. Think there would have been no investigation, nothing done. It wouldn't have made a blip if they wouldn't have refused to go in there. If they wouldn't have refused the police and the contractors access, we would have never even heard about this. And this is all alleged. This is all alleged. So, we really supposed to believe that a small amount of individuals were working under a building working on the tunnel that connected 4 buildings, and nobody knew? Nobody knew? You don't think something like that is being used to smuggle? Come on, man. And with New York being a sanctuary city and everything else, come on, man. Let's be honest. They were really going to fill this up. They was going to fill this up, get the tunnel patched up, and move away in silence. But we in a day and age where exposing the elite is in. That's what people focused on. That's what the move is. So, it's crazy that they just take this stuff at surface level and don't go any deeper. We should demand an investigation on this, man. But, when you playing hardball with that group, it's only so much that can go on, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think. What do y'all think this tunnel was really used for? Let's talk about it. I'll holla. Peace.